Buongiorno, and welcome to my kitchen today, where I'm going to share with you something to bring to your table. So not cookies today. We are going to probably make one more cookie this week because, you know, it is typical and people do expect it and like it. My kids do. But today we're making a cranberry orange loaf. It's like, you know, it's like a sweet bread. I make mine a little less sweet than some recipes call for. I also use olive oil because olive oil and orange really go nice together. And I'm actually going to use extra virgin olive oil, gives it a little more pungency, and it's just good. Really easy recipe, but one of the things I do, so if you want to use this as part of your gift giving, you can go to like any store, really. They sell these little teeny ceramic loaf pans. I don't know if dollar stores do. I want to say maybe they do. Dollar store or, you know, any kind of kitchen store. But these are not very expensive and they make a great little presentation. You put a little loaf in here, put it in the middle of a plate with a few cookies around it. And it's a little different than just a tray of cookies. So I love these because I think they're cute. I buy them by the bunches and I use them for gift giving. You could also fill this with cookies if you wanted just like a smaller gift, and then you have a little cute little thing that goes along with it. So anyway, this is a really easy recipe because I use oil and not butter. I think it's a little healthier. Also, it's easier to do in a bowl by hand instead of breaking out the mixer. So I'm actually doubling this today, but the single recipe is 2 cups of flour. I will post this immediately after the show. So, but I'm doing 4 cups. So this is actually, I don't even know why I'm measuring it. I already measured it out. 4 cups of flour. And then half a cup for the single recipe. A single recipe here makes 1 big loaf or a couple little loaves. Now, your standard little loaf is bigger than this. Is a mini loaf, so it makes like 3 or 4 of these, I think. But anyway, so I'm putting in half a cup per recipe. So this is 1 cup because I'm doubling. Okay, and then we're putting in 1.5, so now I'm putting in 3, but 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. 1, 2, 3. And then it would be half a teaspoon of baking soda, but I'm putting in 1 because I've doubled. 1. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm not putting in a whole 2. I'm going to put in 1. Well, it calls for 2, but there we go. Okay. Now, just gonna quickly just mix this all up. I'm gonna set this aside for a second because now I'm gonna get our wet ingredients together. So we have 1/4 cup of oil, liquid. So I'm putting in half a cup. You know, I always double recipes. You guys should just get used to that. Okay, there we go. Make sure I did it right, looking from the other side. Half a cup of good extra virgin olive oil. So we're putting this in here. 1 egg. So I'm going to put it in here first. Because I'm actually using 2 eggs. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to juice an orange because we want, actually I'm going to juice 2 oranges, because we want 1/2 to 3/4 cup of orange juice. Now if you don't have, say you've only got 1 orange and you need more juice, just if you have orange juice you can use that too. Don't make it too watery. If it's a concentrate, you know, make it, you know, a little stronger. I always do. If not, if it's the regular kind that's full strength, then you know, you can use that. As long as there's no big chunks in there, like from the pith, you know, that white stuff, then you can go ahead and throw the pulp in too. You just still gotta get the juice out. So see here, I have, you know what, that thing's so hard to read. Look at that. That is a perfect 1/2 cup out of there. So what do I want? I want 1/2 to 3/4. Before I do that, I also need some zest. So, you know what? I'm gonna zest the one usually I do it whole. What the heck? It works. Check it out. So if you ever cut your orange and juice it first, know that you can go back and still zest it. It's easier when it's solid, but actually, this isn't hard. So you want about a tablespoon of zest, or as much as you can get. I wouldn't go crazy. Like if you get, a little bit less, it's okay. Well, this is such a nice, really pungent. Sometimes oranges aren't as, some are more pungent than others. So basically 1 orange gives you just about what you need for a single recipe. So, you can just do 1 orange of zest, as long as it's a nice big one. Now don't do a clementine, that's another story. And if you're ever light, and if by chance you keep orange extract as one of your pantry items, you can always put a little drop of that in too. It is best with the fresh. But if you want to add a little bit, as long as you've got a nice, natural, organic, you know me, you gotta try organic. I'm trying to sing with the song that's playing. It's amazing what this little teeny bit of zested stuff just does for the flavor of a dish. Now, this one I'm gonna zest. I'm just gonna zest the whole thing right here. I'm gonna zest this one whole because it is a little faster and easier. Originally I wasn't gonna double it, but I'm like, you know what? I'm here, I'm doing it. And what's gonna happen is, see, you can freeze these really easily, wrap them really good in paper, in plastic, and you can freeze them. Then just take them out gently and let them come to room temperature on a rack so that they're not getting moisture underneath them. And they're beautiful, just fine. But I know if I make this right now, everybody's gonna wanna eat some, because everybody wants to eat something. So that's why it's always a good thing to double your recipes, or even 1.5 them, so you can put some out for the house to eat. You can't just save them all for Christmas, and they can't just all just have the ends or the few burnt ones for the family. The family deserves some good ones too. So always make extra. Okay, move this stuff out of the way, make sure I got it all. Oh, geez, I almost forgot the other orange half. Gonna squeeze this baby too. So what I recommend is what I did first. First, juice it, and then zest the whole thing. Because this is wet now since I took the skin off, and it's harder to turn and squeeze. Again, another 1/2 cup, but with the pulp gives it even more. Okay, and I'm gonna give my hands just a quick rinse because they're sticky. Okay, so I'm mixing this all up, breaking up my eggs. They don't have to be totally beaten because I'm gonna mix it all up in here. Okay, but they are pretty beaten. Oh yeah, they're all good. Move that over. Now I'm just going to gently mix this in. Although, you know what, it did ask for 3/4 of a cup. Let's see how this comes out. Usually I put 3/4 cup of juice. I only put in a little more than half each. So I may have to add just a little bit of water or milk. I think I'm gonna add just a little milk because I didn't put quite as much, orange juice. So I'm gonna put in about 1/2 cup of milk because that's about the difference in the amount of liquid I put in. You need the liquid, you need to have the right measurements, but you can always substitute with whatever you need to. Milk or water are always fine. If you have some other fruit juice, you could put, like in here, in this particular one, you could do apple juice or, obviously orange juice. I don't think I'd go lemon. Now anyway, what we're doing, this does come out to be kind of a thick, actually that is a little thicker than normal, so I am gonna put just a smidge more. Probably another 1/4 cup. It is a thick batter. Know that ahead of time. Now I'm just mixing it till it's just mixed. You don't want to overbeat this. So now I'm adding the goodies. So I'm adding 1 cup of cranberries per recipe. And then you can add walnuts or any other nuts you like. I'm going to mix in the berries and make some without nuts, and then I'm going to add some nuts to the remaining batter. Oh gosh, this is so good. So these are fresh cranberries. They're not craisins. You could use the dried ones if you want. It's not quite the same, but it is good. Just like raisins in one is good. You know, I like raisins. Kids don't always like raisins. So now you can do a couple different things. You can just oil the bottom of these, or you can oil and use a little bit of paper. Now, if you're going to give this as a gift as is in the pan, you can still put the wax paper in, or you can just leave it as is, maybe pop it out and then pop it back in, which is what I kind of like to do. So you can take a little piece of wax paper. Actually, I like to make it exactly the width. That way, it doesn't crumple on the sides and make a funny shape on the edge of the, I made this one too big. What's nice is you make it just over the end, just over the edge. Because then once it's made, you can just kind of yank on this and pull it out. So you can use wax paper or parchment paper. Okay, let me show you. I'm just putting this over the two sides. And I'm going to use a smidge of olive oil to butter my pan, because I'm going to keep, and what I did was I put the olive oil here in my little dish that had the orange zest in it. It gives it a little, I don't know, you can do it, doesn't matter, but it gives a little extra orange flavor in there. Okay, so I've just greased that lightly. I'm just going to put a spoonful in here. You're going to fill it about 3/4 of the way, and it's going to poof up. Okay, with my smaller spoon, I'm just going to put this, make sure it goes into the corners. Like I said, this is a thick dough, it's a thick batter. So make sure it's a little higher on the sides, because it's going to poof in the middle, but you know, it's going to poof up. I'm going to make this just a little bit more, because I want it to kind of come over the top so it looks pretty. And here's my cute little, I'm going to throw this one in right now, my cute little cranberry orange bread with no nuts. Now another thing you can do is do like little loaf pans like this. So I'm going to make actually some of these too, because I'm going to just grease these. Whenever you do these things, don't forget to grease the inner post, because that's where everything usually sticks. This thing, I just love this pan. This is a Pampered Chef pan, I'm telling you, and the non-stick, even though I'm greasing it, it does have some, you know, things just fall out of it. I don't know, it's like a combination of, I don't know what it is, but, so I'm just gonna, so if you want one of these, message me, and I can hook you up before the holiday. You know, this stuff is so thick, sometimes it's better to get a big spoonful and then use it as a, there we go. That's so much quicker. Okay, look at that, see? Let me get a couple little, get these couple spots that I kind of flung batter so that they don't burn on the side. Okay. Aren't they cute? They're gonna be really cute. You know, those are gonna kind of come out like cranberry orange donuts. That's, ooh, sprinkle a little powdered sugar on top. Oh, they're gonna be good. So anyway, so I'm gonna make, so I'm gonna get, let's just see how many more of these I get out of here. I'm not really, I'm more oiling the sides where the wax paper is. I'm putting a little bit on the wax paper. You don't have to go crazy, because the wax paper is your part that makes it not stick. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take this last little bit and put some in each one. Make sure now that they're in the corners. Very simple little process here, but just make sure you get your corners filled. You don't want an oval, you want a nice cute little rectangle. All right, so we ended up with 5 of these little pans and 6 of the donut looking ones. Let's put these all in. And they don't take very long to cook. You want to put them on 350, and supposedly it's not too long. It's basically when you get a toothpick out. Every place I look said when the toothpick comes out clean. And that's all I've ever written on my recipe. Oh yeah. These are so cute. So the first one I put in is already poofing up, and so are the little round ones, and so they're really coming out cool. So I really hope that you enjoy this because this is a really, really nice recipe. Oh, you know what I didn't do? See, typical me. Let me get my pot holder. I want to put a couple nuts on top of a couple of them. So I can mix it inside the dough, or I can just sprinkle them on top, which I think that's what I'm going to do. Because then I don't forget that there's nuts in these ones. Push them into the batter a little, but let them be seen on top. I don't know, I have this thing about these kind of cakes. I love the smoothness of, you know, the density of the batter, the dough, and the cake when it's cooked without nuts in it. But I do love the taste of nuts. So I just threw a few nuts that I pushed into the batter and then on top. Oh yeah. Okay, there we go. So let's talk about your baking. How much have you gotten done so far? I spent the entire day making cookie dough. So I have an entire refrigerator full of cookie dough. I made more of my S cookies because the first batch I made when I made them last week with you guys, they're gone. I made some more not cookies, which I made with you guys because those are almost gone. And then I just made, you know, plain old, I make 1 drop cookie. I think I mentioned that, you know, I love chocolate chip cookies, don't get me wrong. But like I say, I always think they're like jeans. You know, those are everyday cookies. I want like special cookies. But I still like making, you know, it's nice to make a really good tasting drop cookie that's easy to do, and it also helps you fill up your tray a little bit, you know, a little faster than some of the ones you got to roll and shape and all this. So I make a white chocolate chip craisin macadamia nut cookie that is so yummy, and it's, you know, it's got the red and the white in it from the cranberries and the white chips, and it's just so pretty. It tastes good, really good. So anyway, so I've got that dough made. I've got snickerdoodles because, you know, you got to have one typical American sugar cookie amidst all your good Italian cookies, and that's my one. I really love that tang from this cream of tartar. It's so good. And but then my other favorites, I have these almond crescents I make that I dip the ends in chocolate. They're so good. I made more of my little nut tarts. I made that dough ready to go to make the filling and make. I've got, let's see, what else did I make? Oh, I made my grandmother's, my nonna's, she used to make this chocolate icing cookie. So it's kind of similar, well, I wouldn't say it's similar, my S cookies, but it's a cracklier I don't want to say batter, dough. When the cookie's done, it's more, a little more, got a more crumble to it as opposed to kind of more doughy and chewy. And oh, they're good. And she used to ice them with you know, confectioner's sugar, but she'd mix it with like espresso coffee, and it would have this coffee flavor on these. And she would ice one side. She literally iced them with a knife, put them on wax paper on the table, and then when they were dry, she would turn them over and ice the other side. Holy cow. That was a lot of icing, a lot of time, and a lot of love put into each cookie. But oh my goodness, those are so good. So I decided to make those this year. I don't make them every year. And this year I finally been kind of reorganizing my recipes, and I found the recipe. I'm like, I'm making these. So good. So, and then I made my marzipan cookies, which are basically an almond flavored butter cookie, but I shape them, I color the dough. So I made 3 different doughs, yellow, red, and green. And I make little apples and pears and bananas and things, and they're really cute. And you use cloves, whole cloves, to stick in the dough for the stem and stuff like that. It's really cute. So anyway, I made, I think 9 or 10 different doughs yesterday. No, 11 different doughs yesterday. And then I've got these here that are something else that will go on my tray. So that's, 12 things different. That's gonna make a beautiful platter for my table, and lots of platters to give away to my friends. So I'm really excited. And then I've got plenty, a lot of people like nuts, but then I've got one son who can't eat lots of nuts. So I've got lots of cookies without nuts. So it's a nice mix of everybody likes something on the tray. So it's exciting. And then of course, there's the other things like the limoncello and the coffee liqueur, which we're gonna make later this week, that are nice gifts to give as well. So got a couple more things to show you this week, and the next week I'm probably just gonna do one last Christmas show and take a week off for the holiday. But I'm really excited that I've been able to share these gifts from the kitchen, because gifts from the kitchen bring people back to the kitchen. They keep coming back. You leave them on the kitchen counter, or you leave them at the dining room table, and all of a sudden, oh, it's time for some coffee. Let's sit at the table and have our cup of coffee instead of walk around with it or at the counter. And again, you're at the table, another excuse to sit down, have a cookie, and chit chat. It's all about talking and being present and being there for each other. And that's what we should really strive for this Christmas season. I know that we're all a little bit, I don't know, maybe we're claustrophobic right now due to the times and the being stuck with each other. But let's try to make it more special and enjoy this, because we don't, all of a sudden it's going to be gone. This too shall pass. And as soon as it's over, we're going to be like, oh, I miss them being home from school, or I miss, my husband being home working from here so we can have lunch together. We've changed our entire eating habits because he's been home. We're eating our dinner at lunchtime, just like they do in Italy. We're having our pasta. We have pasta, most of the time during the day. I mean, we always have it during the day now, but most days, some sort of pasta or a little pasta in our soup or whatever. But we are having our carbs and our stuff that are energy foods at midday, just like they do in Italy and a lot of places in the world. And then at nighttime, we're just having like some vegetable soup or some meats and a little bit of something, carbs, like proteins and vegetables. And I feel so much better eating that way. I feel healthier. I've lost 20 pounds. I don't know where it went, and I don't know if it really looks like it, but I've lost 20 pounds since we moved here. And I really do attribute it to the change in our eating habits, like when we eat. And I think my hot tub, it's melting me away. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think the decrease of stress in my stress habits, because I'm always like running around, my relaxed time, I think it's just made me all the way calmer. And we are eating together, and we're all connecting better together. So, I really do think it makes a difference in your health. I feel good this winter, aside from, a little sniffle the other day and some occasional sneezes, which I do all the time anyway. In the morning, I have my sneeze attack. I feel healthier living this way. So try to find those things that you can embrace during this time that we're stuck together. It's kind of like, when you've got kids all living at home and, they're driving you crazy, but all of a sudden they move out and you're like, oh, I want everybody to come home, And so it's like we always want what we can't have. Everybody wants it. Oh, I want to work from home, or, oh, I wish I had this or that or the other thing. I could do this or spend more time here or there or together. And all of a sudden we've got it and everybody's whining and complaining. And yes, I get lonely too. Loneliness is my kryptonite. Boy, it drives me insane. You guys are my savior. But at the same time, being alone and being happy with it and choosing it as opposed to being lonely. Don't allow yourself to be lonely. Make a phone call, make a FaceTime, do a FaceTime at mealtime and put them at put the phone or the iPad or the computer, laptop on the table and eat together with the people that are far away right now. Because you know you can't always be together at this time, but you can find ways around it. This too shall pass. You know, the 1918 Spanish flu, you know, it went away, and it's 100 years before we got another pandemic. You know, so we really need to embrace it, enjoy it, learn from it, and we will get through this, all of us together, making cookies. Let's check these things in the oven real quick since I've been talking too much, and we may have one ready. Let's see. Ooh. It's not ready yet, but it's almost, they're almost ready. And so I will, you know, post them a picture of the finished product with the recipe, probably in about a half an hour. And I will hopefully see pictures that you all will post underneath of your version of this beautiful sweet cake that you will enjoy in the middle of your platters and all that kind of stuff. So have a wonderful day. I will see you guys tomorrow with another gift from the kitchen. And until then, have a nice meal with your family at the table tonight. Mwah. Ciao.